Oh god, I'm back on the same boat. Again. Well, at least this time we're all soldiers. Last time it was a bunch of Roman guys with swords. God. Both times, every time I fall in that water, I wake up in a goddamn ditch and Jesus, there it is again. Ah, here we go. This is what I get. This is what I get for buying discount yacht tickets again. Oh, God, boy, duck. Jesus, God, duck. What are you saying? Jump over the edge? Give me a second. I'm having a cuddle. Nice seeing you too, mate. Right. Well, please, God, just don't wake up in a dare. Oh. Ooh. Oh, I'm in a bathroom. And I don't have a hole in my head. That's good. A wife, a kid, everything's coming up Millhouse. Oh, crap. Oh, Jesus, I think I spoke too soon. Oh, that looks a lot worse than getting shot in the face. Jesus Christ, here it comes! Welcome everyone back to the Brickmaker channel and to pretty much part 3 of the World War II series, kind of, on this channel. If you guys didn't know, for Fallout New Vegas, I've already made a part 1 and a 2 of Can You Beat Fallout New Vegas as a World War II soldier, and I've decided to do the same for Fallout 4. I use the same name, try and make the same looking character from Fallout New Vegas, and just pick pretty generic stats. The wife and son that I got very attached to gets taken out pretty quick. Do the old song and dance in the vault. This is just the usual thing. I usually try and skip this part, but since the standard character that I have at the beginning of Fallout 4 is a female, I thought I'll go back and redo it as a male, since the New Vegas character was also male. I retrieve my Pip-Boy, head out to the Commonwealth for the first time, and finally have someone tell me I'm special, which I really needed to hear. The rules for this video is pretty simple. I can only use World War II weapons, and I can only wear something a World War II soldier could wear. Now I can finally ask the question, can you beat Fallout 4 as a World War II soldier? After already looting Sanctuary for all its gold bars, I meet Trashcan Carla, and luckily for me, she is carrying a submachine gun. Now, as I'm sure many of you know, the submachine gun in Fallout 4 is just the Thompson, the Tommy gun, the standard issue machine gun that they used in World War II, and something I was able to use in my Fallout New Vegas run as well. After trading all the stuff that I had on me, I simply have a bald man with a beard, same as the New Vegas guy, with no clothes and a submachine gun. And to be honest, that's more than enough to deal with Wolfgang. I mean, look at how menacing Private Ryan is. I mean, I even intimidate him. And yeah, it ends in a firefight. I mean, a bald man with a huge beard and underwear wielding a Thompson gun, yelling about invading Normandy. I mean, I'd be pretty intimidated as well. For early on in the game, the submachine gun is a pretty strong weapon. I'm not really struggling too much, especially with people using pipe weapons. I want to take a second just to marvel at my character. I mean, look at those muscles. And I arrive at the Cambridge police station to, well, I would say help. I'm not really helping. I'm watching them fight. Paladin Dance tries to act cool by not noticing the exploding truck, but I know it scared him. And the reason I ran here is because this is where you can pick up military fatigues pretty early on in the game. I thought running around in underwear for the whole playthrough isn't the best idea, so pick these up as early as I can and decide to take on Concord. I mean, these are pretty low level raiders. I've got a good amount of ammo, and surprisingly enough, the military fatigues have pretty good DT. Not great, but better than nothing. I clear out the raiders and decide to put the fusion core inside the power armor. Now, I'll be using this power armor to simply jump down off of this roof, but there'll be no power armor for this playthrough. I don't think there was many people storming Omaha Beach in metal armor. But I decided to use a very solid tactic by running straight to Deathclaw to spawn him in, so him and the raiders can fight it out while I just take a moment to survey the scene. I was in awe as a Deathclaw threw a car at a raider. I accidentally got curious to where the Deathclaw came from and found out that he came from the sewers. I mean, it was either the sewers or he's simply just been sitting in a hole for a while. And what I realized is that if you go all the way through, you just come out right next to the Museum of Freedom. Despite my long absence from that fight, there's still raiders and there's still a Deathclaw. At this point I'm a little bit concerned for my ammo. I don't think 71 bullets is enough to take out all that Deathclaw health. I mean, at this point I have been thrown onto a beach, frozen in a capsule, and I've been killed by dirt. And Preston, could you please just hit the Deathclaw? Luckily for me, frag grenades were definitely used during World War II, and that was enough to take out the Deathclaw. I go let Preston Garvey know that I love him, buy a sweet hat, and start upgrading my submachine gun. On my way to Diamond City, I decide to mark Green Tech Genetics on the map, watch a seriously intense battle between a machine gun turret and a vicious mongrel. I mean, that explosion sent him into the Shadow Realm. Ignore Piper and McDonough and run straight into Diamond City. What I need is ammunition and experience. I decide to pick up a combat knife in case I run out of ammo, a combat helmet for some extra DT, and make sure I'm the sassiest man to Piper. Jesus, Kyle, put down the gun! Kyle! And I start moving my sweet cheeks over to get Nick Valentine, because it is a great place to pick up tons of 45 ammo, as Triggermen pretty much only carry submachine guns and 10mm pistols. I decide that I want to go stabby for now, and yeah, the combat knife really doesn't do that much compared to the Fallout New Vegas one. However, at this point I do decide that it may be too easy this playthrough, and I decide I'm going to put it onto very hard for the time being. Oh, that might be a decision I regret later. Anyway, hindsight being a bitch later, I decide to head down into the metro and start, well, doing more damage to myself than I am to the Triggermen. You might be wondering, really? Molotovs? Not a World War II weapon? Well, in Call of Duty World at War, you can use Molotovs. And if that's not enough historical accuracy guidance, then what truly does count these days? Given the vault the old beep beep, I start to see just how difficult that very hard for Fallout 4 really is. I mean, it's that or the combat knife is rubbish. I mean, it does no damage. It is chipping away at them. I mean, even the submachine gun doesn't really do particularly much. And when I tried to save a bit of ammo there, I ended up getting my head cracked off by a baseball batted ghoul. I mean, look at that. Even a sneak critical with the submachine gun does very, very little damage. But obviously the range on the submachine gun is poor. So up close, I decided to do a bit more damage. With Dino gone, I can speak to old Nick, let him know all my old story about being on a boat and something about my son, and decide to take out the rest of the Triggermen. I mean, I say decide to take out the rest of the Triggermen, while this guy's going down slow as dirt and vats, I've already been taken out. I mean, I bring a knife to a gunfight, and even then the Triggerman doesn't need to use the bullets, it just knocks me to the ground. And this guy takes my head off with a baseball bat. It's here where I realise that on very hard, Skinny Malone might be Elden Ring level of a final boss. I mean, Darla acts as if she is wearing a dress. But when fighting Skinny Malone, I swear, my bullets do very, very little damage. A couple of Molotovs later and sneaking up behind them, I'm able to speak to Nick outside of the metro and tell him to head back to Diamond City. However, instead of moving the main quest along, I decided to go help the Minutemen. Now, when I sat down and really thought which faction in Fallout 4 was the most appropriate for a World War II soldier, I had to go through all of them. Now, the Institute are kinda like the World War II bad guys, which I won't say their name for monetization purposes, but, you know, they're kinda like those bad guys. The Railroad suck. The Brotherhood of Steel are also kinda like those bad guys. Like, one side's genetics, one side's genocide. And that leaves you with the humbled old Minutemen. Now, I might not have been a Revolutionary War soldier, but I still think a World War II soldier would take their side. So, that's what I'm going to be doing. I am siding with the Minutemen, which, you know what, in terms of Fallout 4 playthroughs, I don't side with the Minutemen all that often in my casual playthroughs, so this will be a nice change of pace. I get a pretty sweet gas canister shot there, and decide just to charge Jared down. I mean, taking out the radius of Lexington's pretty much always number one. But once you took out Jared, you don't need to do much else. So once I get out, I decide just to run away and conserve my ammo. I let the citizens of Temple and Bluff know I've done a good job, and Preston promotes me to the General of the Minutemen. When going to speak to Nick, there's something just hilarious about the way Ellie runs around the corner there. And it's now time to go get into Kellogg's house. All kind of charisma checks fail, so I have to bribe Geneva to get the key, which is always frustrating. But with the key I'm able to look around Kellogg's house and speak to Dogmeat. It's at this point that I know that I'm going to be heading towards Vault 81 and decide that now's the best time to start upgrading all my weaponry. Cricket will be my first stop as she sells Spray and Pray, the best submachine gun in the game. I unfortunately at this current moment don't have the money to get Spray and Pray, so there's a very simple way of making a lot of caps in Fallout 4. There's a simple quest in Diamond City where Paul wants you to help him deal with a guy called Cook who's been messing with his wife, and as a result you're able to go complete a different quest. Well, there'll be well, I don't want to say the word for monetization reasons, but you can go and jump a bunch of people who are making a shipment, let's just say that much. When picking up the cargo, I've always found the simplest way to bring people to the table is to offer them a bottle of alcohol first. They don't usually say to put it on fire, but I do put it on fire, and deal with Trish without any real problem. It's here where you pretty much get 60 of all the different chems in the game. I let the people of Vault 81 know that I'll be on mission for them with my newfound wealth. And when speaking to Cricket, I'm able to pretty much trade her all those chems, which in retrospect, you know, they make the game pretty easy, so getting the caps for them is pretty nice. Getting Spray and Pray, and then finally go in and speak to the Overseer of Vault 81, trading free fusion cores. Unfortunately, with buying all the fusion cores and Spray and Pray, I'm unable to buy my next weapon, which I'm sure most of you already know, but I won't spoil it for the other ones who are waiting with bated breath. And decided to see what Dogmeat was up to. He was just chilling with a Yao Guai. I swear, it felt like when I turned up, they were sitting there having a cigarette waiting, and when I turned the corner they were like, oh, time to get back into the game. I also decided to progress the Minutemen questline on a little bit. It's nice, going from Diamond City all the way to Fort Hagen really lets you hit a lot of kind of important areas on the map. Normally in these playthroughs I don't bother following Dogmeat, but this time I decided why not. I'll take the normal spot, and I get to put Spray and Pray into full use here, especially against these ghouls. The big benefit to Spray and Pray is that it cripples them pretty quick, so for feral ghouls it knocks their limbs straight off. And it also allows for, when you're just shooting at the ground, it can hit multiple enemies at once, not just one enemy at a time, which is a really nice feature when taking out large groups. I finally arrive at Fort Hagen. Decide to use the Protectron as the very hard difficulty is still causing me a lot of problems. It's here though, even with the Protectron helping, that I realise that playing this game on very hard is definitely doable, but in terms of the amount of time I'm able to set aside during my day for recording these gameplays, I unfortunately had to make the, not a hard decision, but you know, the coward's decision. I had to knock it down. I had to knock the difficulty down. I initially considered knocking it down to hard, but it didn't seem to really help. So I made the even more coward decision of knocking it all the way down to normal. I'm sorry, Bricks, I'm sorry. With the game's difficulty a bit more my speed, I'm able to make my way down further into Fort Hagen. Battling the Sims now is not too much of a problem, but they're a lot more spread out than normal, so a bit of a pain when it comes to really using the Spray and Pray to its full potential. I meet with Kellogg and decide there's no point of even trying to talk this out. I mean, this guy shot my wife, so it's only fair that I shoot him straight back in the face. And Spray and Pray truly shows its destructive capability, as taking out Kellogg is not a problem at all. I am absolutely flabbergasted by this massive airship flying across. I never saw it coming. I let Darcy know that I encouraged her lover and her husband to take each other out, walk in on a private conversation, and take out the Raiders of Backstreet Apparel for the Minutemen quest. I'm now finally able to afford the Overseer's Guardian. Now, when doing this gameplay, I did think this may be slightly controversial, using the combat rifle. However, as you can see, it is called BAR, and the spray and pray is called the Thompson. So, I mean, that's pretty good, right? But in all honesty, I did believe that the combat rifle looks enough like the BAR from World War II, and I made sure to use a long barrel and make it as close to a BAR as possible. I decided to test out the combat rifle in the most fitting place of the combat zone, and it really burns through the raiders pretty fast. I mean, the two-shot ability is probably the best ability in the game, and probably rivaling the bleed effect. I head over to Good Neighbor and take out Finn, and also pick up some extra ammunition. It's at this point that I decide that I might as well finish off my weapon arsenal for this game. Despite having such a powerful arsenal, I am still taken out by a super mutant unaliver, and arrive at the headquarters of the railroad. Now, I won't be doing any of the railroad questline at all. I mean, in a sense of completing it for them. At this stage, I need to complete just a couple railroad quests so I can unlock the ballistic weave. So unfortunately for the time being, we'll have to jump in and out of a few railroad quests. I do apologise to all those in the crowd who are a little bit squeamish for railroad quests. But since I'm nearby, I might as well stop over at Pikmin Gallery. As on top of my 2 guns and 2 grenades, I might as well upgrade my melee weapon as well, my combat knife, to the Pikmin's Blade. As I'm sure most of you know, Pikmin's Blade is the best combat knife in the game. It has not just a bleed effect, but I think it has a stackable bleed effect. I think the weapon itself has one, and then the serrated blade or the stealth blade also has a bleeding effect. So it's a very, very powerful weapon in terms of stacking damage. Pikmin as a character is not a necessarily bad guy. He just, he just hurts bad people. So in my books, he's A-okay. Despite him trying to jump in front of my weapon 100 times, I speak to Pikmin, and he lets me know that if I go and check out his beautiful artwork, I'm able to pick up the Pikmin's Blade. And in terms of weapon, like I said before, target bleeds for 25 points of additional damage. Stacking on top of the stealth blade, it's a pretty powerful weapon. We are nearly there. We have nearly got all of the weapons I'll be using in this playthrough. And in this first quest with Deacon for the railroad, that's where I'll be able to pick up my final weapon. I hate this quest. I hate the start of this quest. It's so slow. Deacon walks so slow. You have to push him to go. He always wants to stop and explain all the signs to you for the railroad, and I simply just don't care. After an unfortunate scene at the mines, I decide to sneak in through the pipe and make my way through the Sims. It's not too much of a problem. Picking up Pikmin's Blade I've always wondered why Sims get hurt for bleed damage. I can understand the upgraded Sims having bleed damage since they're quite human-like, but the robot Sims, I don't get how they can take bleed damage. But as Patrick Starr says, the inner workings of Todd Howard's mind is an enigma. And after battling my way through all those enigmas, I'm able to finally get Carrington's prototype and get my final weapon of this playthrough, the Deliverer. Now, despite not being able to use 10mm pistols, I think the model for it is different enough. It looks like a 9mm pistol that it is viable for this run. With my arsenal fully finished, I'm able to head over to Dr. Amari and start the second worst quest in all of Fallout 4. A close second behind the stupid puzzle game from Far Harbor. I sprint my way all the way through Kellogg's brain and decide to crash these Triggermen's party so I can steal all their 45 ammo. The Deliverer at this point is a pretty solid weapon. Again, I feel like it looks like a 9mm pistol. That doesn't mean any other 10mm pistols are viable, so you guys let me know what you think down in the comments if the Deliverer was an okay weapon. But despite it being still pretty strong, I head over to the glowing sea to go meet with Virgil, and yeah, the Deliverer is not quite strong enough to be dealing with all these Red Widow blood bugs, so taking the BAR back out. Now, if you guys saw my Fallout New Vegas top 10 weapons, you know how much I love the bar. I mean, I put it in my top 10 despite using it very rarely because of dead money. But the combat rifle is... oh, I think it is definitely my favourite weapon in Fallout 4. If you guys would love to see a top 10 weapons in Fallout 4, please let me know down in the comments and I can start working on that video. But as I'm rambling here, the crater of Atom, I've somehow got myself turned the wrong way and ran into a growing mole rat infestation. and the spray and pray shows just why its explosive ammunition is perfect for this kind of crowd control. When looking for Virgil's cave, I always look for the death clit out front first. That's the best way to find it, and I finally get to speak with Virgil. Now, despite being a super mutant, he does call the Roll Red a bunch of crazy people, and that's a-okay with me. The only thing I'm allowed to steal is his copy of Tesla Science. He must not care that much about it. And I head back to the railroad so I can gain access to fast travelling to their HQ. I also found a bit of an interesting glitch. You can see I just have over 100 bullets for my 10mm pistol, and I accidentally sell the ammo. When I come back, I now have somewhat unlimited ammunition, but the second that you try and fire the gun, it all goes back down to 0. So I had to reload and get my ammo back. Glitches aside, I start doing more of the railroad quests. The first one involves helping out some random synth at a church. Straight out of Old Man Stockton. This quest is just like the old Team Fortress 2 mission where you had to move the cart to a different spot. That's pretty much what you do with the synth. It's here where I got a little bit excited and decided to take on Green Tech Genetics. I thought I'd be getting ballistic weave soon, so I might as well go pick up all their different military and army fatigues, hats and armor. Thinking, oh, I'll be getting my ballistic weave soon, I'll be able to upgrade so much. I didn't get ballistic weave soon. I just don't know when that quest. I don't know when you get the ballistic weave. I thought I was going to get it soon. And then in a fit of rage, I decide just to wipe out the courser just like I did to Kellogg. I get to take my pick of the gunner conscripts. Get it? Take my pick. I'm using Pickman's blade. Do you get it? It's very important that you get it. With a courser chip, I have to listen to the railroad have a bit of a circle jerk, let Virgil insult them for a second time, and finally start the quest for Pam, which at this point I had to quickly search how to get ballistic weave, and I know now that once you finish her DIA cache quest, that's when you're able to finally pick it up. So for now, I gotta go quickly clear up some settlements for her. It's just the Minutemen questline repackaged. When heading over to the Hub 360, I got so turned around with this, because the quest is called the Hub 360, but the actual building of the Hub 360 is filled with super mutants, and it's not the place you're supposed to go. I do get to see this cool super mutant taking a little swim. I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen that in Fallout 4. And I've now realised that the door I was supposed to be entering is on the side of the building. I take a couple different approaches to get it, but I did eventually also have to YouTube how to complete this quest. I mean, I've done it before getting the ballistic weave, but I've just forgotten, and I had to quickly search how to access this building. One walkthrough later, I'm finally able to enter the Hub 360, access the DIA cache, and I'm finally able to access all of the ballistic weave. I go speak to Tinker Tom just to double confirm it. And it's here that I realise he doesn't sell any ballistic weave, but I can start adding it to my armour. I assumed I would come across ballistic weave just naturally in the game, so I thought I'll start doing some more of the Minutemen quest lines. I set up this radio beacon and realised that I got to save a couple more settlements before I'm even ready to take on the castle. Now it's important to know that there was a couple days in between my recording sessions when I speak to Preston Garvey and then decide to go on and take on all the settlement quests. So I have now been given the big 15 gig update, and halfway through this playthrough I have now got access to the Enclave quests. I mean, this guy's so excited his neck has literally started growing and straining in front of my eyes. So as I continued the settlement quest, two things went through my mind. One, the Enclave's kinda like an army. I should probably fight them, they're kind of like the bad guys, right? Two, I haven't done it yet, and I'm playing this character, so in for a penny, in for a pound. If you're gonna walk on ice, you might as well dance. It's at this point I decide that as a World War II soldier, I have to go complete the Enclave quests. Longneck seems happy, and I start the first Enclave quest. And it's here where I have to follow the blood splatters. It doesn't even feel real, this. A random Enclave, it feels like a mod. And as he says, Poe Dameron, one more time with feeling, guys. Somehow, the Enclave have returned. I know I make jokes, but I love the Enclave. I love that they added this. I love that it's free. I love everything about it. And I don't normally play with mods anyway, so all the complaints online about the mods breaking doesn't really affect my gameplay. And with all that, I'm able to start picking up the Hellfire armor, the Enclave power armor stuff, all the Enclave weaponry and combat armor. Despite not being able to use it, I can't just sell it. So I'm going to keep it on a nice little crate. Maybe I'll make a review of it later. I let Preston know, and he finally gives me the quest for taking back the castle. Before I do that though, I decide to continue on with the Enclave quests. When heading to the glowing sea, you get ambushed, and you know what? I'll give them that. It was a hell of an ambush. I mean, I did this a couple of times on normal difficulty. I haven't put it back up, and they wiped me out both times. The first small Enclave base I didn't think was that difficult, but this one here with the incinerator from Fallout New Vegas, I mean, he was doing huge damage to me, and yeah, I'm not sure what level you're supposed to be taking on the Enclave, but I mean, they mean business. I mean, they've even got a written note. I mean, I say a written note. They've got some sort of cartridge saying that I need to go. For those who haven't done the quest, at this point you've got to go to the glowing sea and start following an Enclave homing beacon. You come across the Atlantic offices where you meet the first Enclave soldier with the Tesla cannon, and wow, that was I mean, that is a pretty powerful weapon. It breaks my heart that I can't use it in this playthrough specifically, but if you guys would like to see me play Fallout 4 as an Enclave soldier, please let me know. I would be more than happy to do that. I mean, I don't think it would be particularly hard, but it would definitely be a lot of fun. And I make my way through the Atlantic offices all the way down to the bottom. It's here where I run into a colonel. An Enclave colonel. Not Colonel Autumn, just another random colonel. And I'm actually starting to run pretty low on ammo, so I've only really got a Deliverer for now to be able to take out the rest. Luckily for me, it has unbelievable action point consumption, so I'm able to take out both these Enclave soldiers no problem. I do, however, pick up a new armor that I did not take into consideration when starting this playthrough. The Colonel uniform. Now, if you watched my Fallout New Vegas run as a World War II soldier, you would know that by the end of it, I'm wearing the General outfit, which looks a lot like the Colonel uniform. So, although I only believed that I'd be using the Army fatigues or Dirty Armor fatigues, I believe at this point, it's only appropriate that I can now use the Enclave Colonel outfit. And it's already showing so much more damage resistance, as it is so much stronger than the Army fatigues. While using it, I'm able to take out a Vertibird and a bunch of power armored Enclave troopers. A few of them were legendary as well, so it was quite a tough fight. And with that, I complete Echoes of the Past. I take my Colonel uniform straight up to the armor bench to see if it can be used with Weave, and it certainly can. It's got a damage resistance of 50, the Army fatigues only had a resistance of 10, so it's a huge upgrade. And before I take on the castle, I decided just to speak to Sturgis about the platform. I don't know why, I was just there at the moment. Didn't seem very streamlined. But with that, I go over to speak to Preston, pick up as much extra ammunition as I can, and start formulating my plan to take back the castle. With my Colonel uniform, all the weapons that I'll be using for this playthrough, unless something else comes out of nowhere, and all my Minutemen ready, I decide to draw them out as my plan to take the castle. I never really put much thought into attacking the castle in terms of which one to pick, but drawing them out is actually really handy, because the Minutemen soldiers other than Preston aren't very effective, but having them all standing in a line actually does make this a lot easier. And a lot more efficient with my ammunition, which was becoming a bit of a problem, not in terms of finding ammo, but in terms of buying it, it was quite expensive every time I had to buy some. The Mirelurk Queen is finally here to take us on, and I get so scared I fall off of the castle wall. But eventually find my way back into the courtyard to fight the Mirelurk Queen. I remember the first time I ever played Fallout 4, I did the Minutemen questline up until this point, and I remember the Mirelurk Queen being unbelievably difficult. However, I think in my first playthrough I was only ever using a hunting rifle, so the spray and pray and the combat rifle are much more effective. After she sprays all over my face, I finally take out the Mirelurk Queen. I'm able to build up the generator and get the castle back into working order. I'll just need to wait a couple days in game for Ronnie Shaw to finally turn back up. With that, I can focus on the main quest and start building up the teleporter and make my way into the Institute. A hop, skip and a jump later, I'm so excited to be reunited with my son, I decided to hold my Thompson like that in the cutscene. Realising that my son isn't my son, and that this old man is my son, and that I haven't seen the son in so long, I decided that the only course of action for this soldier is to wipe out the old man. Notice that I take his lab coat for later, just remember that. I fight my way out of the Institute, and decide on a nice third-person cinematic run up the stairs to take out the last of the synth guards. I teleport myself back out of the Institute, wake up in front of the CIT ruins, get told that Vault-Tech's calling, which is strange, I never called them or gave any of them my number, and let Sturges and Preston know that I have made complete enemies of the Institute. No time to worry about that. I mean, the Minutemen who were decimated have just made enemies with the most technologically advanced faction in the game. We've got settlements to save, so that's a lot more important at this current moment. And taking out the Institute so fast, I feel like they really are like the World War II baddies equivalent. I mean, every faction kind of has a bit of the World War II baddies in them, except for the Minutemen. That's why I'm so happy to run around places like Hangman's Alley and the stupid military outposts and blow up a bunch of ghouls and fiends and attack the blood bugs at Taffyding Boathouse. You know, all for the love of Preston Garvey and all for the glory of the Minutemen. Preston is unbelievably happy at the progress I've been making, and I can finally go speak to Ronnie Shaw back at the castle. After being told the information about 30 seconds ago, Ronnie is, just fed up of how long I've taken to get here, and sends me down into the tunnel to see if I can somehow open up the Minutemen Armory. I'm disappointed that there's no way to save Sarge. I feel like Sarge is such an appropriate companion for a World War II soldier, but I don't think there's any way to pacify him, so unfortunately I need to take out Sarge. It was an honour, sir. Thanks for blowing up my leg and arm, but it was an honour. Ronnie hacks her way through the door, and we're able to find old General McGann. Rest easy, General. I can take it from here. I open the armory door, get the schematics for the artillery sets, and start taking out all the old artillery and adding in new artillery. Ronnie Shaw's not too happy with just hoping it works, so we've got to test it out on some poor suspecting building. And again, like I said earlier, I didn't expect me to be adding another weapon to my arsenal, but I believe that using artillery would be appropriate for a World War II soldier, so artillery grenades are now available for me to use. Let's just hope I remember using them all the time. I use the laser turrets from the armory to finish building my defense, and we've now got to defend the castle from the Institute. This was a hard fight. This was a really difficult fight. Not because the sims or the courses were hard, but my god, I am terrible at conserving ammunition. Especially with invisible coursers walking around, and I'm thinking I'll just shoot the floor, that'll eventually get them. Just burning through my own ammo supply. Honestly, some of these runs I was lucky to get taken out, just so I could try again and try not to waste as much ammo every time. It's here where I discover a new reload animation, where I'm able to somehow use it's like a perk bottle from Call of Duty Zombies there, being put into my gun. But despite the throwbacks to old Call of Duty Zombie games, again, one of my favourite series, one of my favourite games. If you guys want to see me play zombies on this channel more, please leave a comment down below, because I would love to. I continue the hard fight against the Institute. Ammo's getting pretty low, and talking about Call of Duty Zombies, I would love a max ammo at this current moment, but for now I have to hit up with the Pickman's Blade. There seems to be like a sort of glitch with the coursers. When you use a melee weapon, they seem to drop their weapons and decide just to go hand to hand with you as well. They're probably stronger at unarmed, but Pickman's Blade is just far too powerful, and the damage just keeps stacking, so eventually they just start falling down. But with this last Synth Patroller taken out, we finally get defending the castle to 100%. The last thing for us to do is just to catch the last couple of stragglers running away. I failed the Brotherhood quest call to arms, locking me out of the Brotherhood quest line at this point, and Preston informs me that we can now attack the Institute. Now, I don't want to do that just yet because there's still a couple Enclave bases that I can still attack, so I thought before I do that, and finish off the game, I should take out all the different Enclave encampments. These are just similar to your first encounter with the Enclave, just a small base out in the middle of the waste. I mean, for this character, I know most people probably wouldn't be selling the armor, but at this stage I've got one set of other armor, so I'm just kind of doing this for the caps. I can take the armor, sell it, buy some ammunition. Plus, doing this gets you all the Enclave magazines. It lets you use their paint jobs, use their different fences, stuff buildable, stuff for settlements. So yeah, I thought I would just see how the end of the Enclave questline goes. I haven't upgraded anything with Ballistic Weave, I just couldn't find any, so I finally decided to search online how to buy it, and Cleo is one of the very few people that actually sell shipments of Ballistic Weave in this game. In my current level, I'm only able to get Mark III Ballistic Weave, which is more than enough for this at this point of the game. And I take on the final Enclave encampment. The Hellfire Troopers with the Incinerator. I might have to do an Incinerator playthrough, because that weapon is powerful. That is such a powerful weapon, the Incinerator. I've never used it in Fallout New Vegas. Maybe I'll do an Incinerator playthrough of that game as well, but I am shocked at how powerful that weapon is. But with that, that is the final Enclave quest done. I let Sturgis know that I want to get into the Institute, and he sets the plan into motion. This bit did confuse me. The quest marker kept sending me to CIT ruins, but I didn't know that you had to run off to the right. I've actually never completed the game with the Minutemen attacking the Institute, with such a lack of Brotherhood intervention at this point, so this part was more or less brand new to me. I do eventually find the entrance though to the Institute. Now if you've watched previous challenges on this channel, you know that I'm a big fan of laying pipes, so crawling through these pipes is not a problem for me. And if you guys haven't seen that video, you can go back and watch it now. I think it's one of my funnier videos. I input into the keypad, get back into my old pipe, and get a nice unexpected water slide bit of fun. I mean, I don't think there's any way I can get back out now. I mean, I am committed. I gotta open this hatch, and I gotta take the fight to the Institute. No Institute yet though, just a lot of feral ghouls down here. And I started noticing that my explosive submachine gun, I don't know, for some reason blows up the water. But not just with explosive rounds, seems to be like there's some sort of gas in there as well. And despite this game never crashing on me before, it decides that it's going to give me its first crash. I have heard a lot of people say that they're not happy with this update, that they don't think it's particularly good. And from what I've been reading, it's mostly just people who use mods that are upset. And obviously the Fallout London, that upset a lot of people as well. I mean, so far I thought it's been playing well, but that was the first crash I've had in a long time. And I'm so freaked out by it, I decided to take out all these Django the Moon monkeys out of a fit of rage and fear. But my honest opinion on the update for 15 gig, I don't notice much difference. I got a free quest line and new equipment, but it does seem to crash a bit more than usual. So I'll give it a couple more days, couple more weeks to see how it plays out. But rambling aside, I finally get the Minutemen into the Institute. Preston is very eager to get going. And for a faction that got wiped out not so long ago, I mean, that is a pretty serious bit of tech that he somehow has. With the fusion pulse in my pocket, I mean, I hope no one shoots it. And I'll make my way through old robotics. It's a pretty hard fought battle. I mean, usually I'm down here with the Brotherhood if I ever get to this point in the main story. But with the Minutemen, it's, yeah, my character does seem to be doing a lot more of the heavy lifting. I do what my dad always taught me and jump into a dirty hole without looking. And finally arrive into the main part of the Institute's base. I mean, here I get caught in one serious crossfire. I did not expect so many different laser turrets to be hitting me. I mean, I nearly get taken out by it. I mean, I feel this is a lot more than usual in terms of simps. And this Minuteman guy decides that he wants to leave me out in the fire. The general goes down with the ship, I suppose. I make my way into the center of the base and get confronted with a special synth. And it's here that I'm glad I didn't do my legendary only run with this playthrough, because I only ever picked up armor from these characters. And as you can see here, someone has put Fowler's lab coat back on him. I mean, you guys saw it earlier in the video. I took it. I now have 2 of Fowler's lab coats. I decided to issue the evacuation order because we're not here to take out civilians. Make my way to advanced systems and get, from what I see, a pretty cool scene there. And get nearly melted by the amount of synths and just blue beams flying around the screen. I take out the final legendary synth, plant the old pulse charge on the reactor, and teleport my sweet cheeks back to the beginning of the Institute. It's here we were met with a very, very morally divisive question. Should I save my fake son? I started off by saying no. I couldn't think of any World War II reason why I wouldn't save him. There's nothing in there about robots and fake people, so I decided to start not to. But then by then I thought, yeah, we're here to save people. We're the US Army, goddammit, and we're here to save everyone, whether they like it or not. I get teleported to the Mass Fusion Executive Suite where I deserve to be. I flick all the switches on the detonator and finally click the button, answering the question that yes, you can indeed beat Fallout 4 as a World War II soldier. As I look out into the Commonwealth considering what I've done, Preston gives me some comforting words that yes, freedom is always worth fighting for. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. This is kind of the part 3 of the World War II soldier series, and although the first one is one of my most popular videos, I just love making this type of run. They're my favourite type of weapons. It's my favourite point of history to do research and to study. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed playing it. If you guys want to see me do any more quests and complete all the DLCs of World War II Soldier, please let me know in the comments. I would be more than happy to do so. If you guys have any other suggestions for other challenges, please let me know down in the comments. If you guys like to see any more top 10 videos, please let me know as well. And if you got this far in the video, write down in the comments bar, B-A-R, bar. Just write the word bar so I know you got to this point. But with all that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.